Hey guys, it's WooGs here. Yeah, so this is the Sorc. This is the seventh out of seven classes. I just did this kill. I actually talked the voice of my items at the end, but I thought I would just quickly get my voice on here and upload it. I don't know how much I'm gonna have to say on this one. I mean, I'll talk about a few things. I would say I don't know if Lightning Sorc was the one I ended up is my favorite choice between light fire and meteor and lightning, but I really wanted to get it done. There's a few things I could have changed on my gear and stuff that would have been better, but ultimately, it did work out. It's very hard though fight. As you're gonna see. Phase one, you could play a lot more like intense and have probably more pots left, but it's a lot more clicks. So you're gonna see what I'm what I mean, what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna kill these golems here. To kill all three golems, you kind of have to be on the move quickly and get your chain lightnings off and move around. My goal here was just to kill three and then maybe get lucky on that fourth one, but not that worried about it because if I could bring Mendeln right here, you see he fully healed there, but if I bring him right here, I just have one spire that I have to do. Um, and he gets the chain lightning bounce off the spire and he takes so much damage. So it's almost not worth killing the golems. So I probably could have gotten away with killing none, but I just kind of wanted to see in case it was faster. But killing none, you can actually dodge all these poisons by teleporting each one. And that would save probably like 15 pots, no joke. um, but I did a run before this, and I just was really frustrated at this phase because it takes so long, and phase three is the one that I'm gonna die on, or like have to run out of pots on. So I was like, no, I was tired of phase one, so that's probably why I don't play very well here. I have done phases in phase one where I've killed all the golems every time. Like I said, you just got to be a lot more active. You got to switch between your chain lightning and lightning because you can do a lightning down a straight path to avoid the chain going off of missing damage. See the long strings it does there. Um, but honestly, I didn't need to do it, and I knew I would just use some extra pots doing this, but I wouldn't have to like try very. I don't want to say not try hard 'cause that sounds like bad, but I mean like not be as aggressive and to really kill them all and to save pots. You actually have to like mechanically play this part pretty well, and I didn't really want to have to do that, so I just kind of wanted the more relaxed version. It's not relaxed as you see because it's still pretty dangerous, but not the laziest way of not damaging any of the golems, I guess, because I still wanted that chance, like I said. Because there is a chance you're going to get a really good chain and kill that top golem, but it's pretty unlikely. So the P Novas at the end of the creeper phase, that's the ones you want to antidote. Nothing else you need to antidote here. Um, Now, I was doing this fight before, I'll talk about it, but with 85 cold res, and it's totally doable with 85, but it's really difficult in this phase because it's very hard to see the spires. That's another reason why I'm staying by a single tower, because I can see the spires. I could just I'm literally just name locking him and just watching this top spire. Now this is just unlucky of constant cold waves. Again, so I just gotta get myself into this wall here and just stand. So I'm just gonna watch this top spire and my health. And if my health is not full, I'm gonna just rejuve. I could also dodge it, but this is the last one, so I'm not too worried. You also saw like a couple seconds before that, like 15 or so, I um, teleported over the Sludge Nova. You can do this to avoid damage. It also works with Poison Nova. It's not a great thing to rely on. You should get used to it for phase three if you can, but it's one of those things where you kind of will try to do it, but you're going to end up potting anyway most of the time because there's a chance that you're going to get caged or grounded by Rathma, and then at that point you can't teleport. So if you're relying on doing that and not dying, you're probably going to end up dying because one of those times, your timing will be perfect, but you're going to get your teleport stopped, and then you're going to get hit by the sludge and not be ready for it. So if you're paying attention, you just got out of your cage, you're not grounded, it happens, you can do it. Otherwise, if you're full health, I try it anyway in phase 3 quite often, as you'll see, because, why not? But it's not a guaranteed thing. That is one of the problems I have with this fight. I'm going to give some feedback. Now that I've done it in all the classes, I kind of wanted to give some generic feedback in the game. Not about class balance or nerf specifically, because I think, the dev team's going to watch their videos, they're going to hear the feedback when people do that, and I don't really want to, nerf a build or nerf a class. I mean, to me, it's pretty apparent by some of these videos and a number of people have done it of which classes are the strongest. And is that okay? Maybe. I'm not the one to kind of make that decision. But I do think there is a few things in these fights that can change that will actually help some of the weaker classes. But also just some things that'll just make, I think, it a bit more forgiving for people to try. But I'll get into that when I actually post the feedback. So here, we want to let our thunderstorm take them down, and then we're actually just using just lightning, and we're just listening or watching the spear animation, and then trying to get our lightnings off of him. So we're not using chain lightning right now. Lightning has better frames. It's a bit less damage, but has way better frames. If he's nearby, you can actually do your chain lightning like this on the soul, and it'll die very quickly. So your chain lightning is really the biggest DPS, but you need another target. It's very much like that throw barb kill I had, but lightning does a lot more damage. You could, at this point, I was actually chatting with Gabe when I was leveling this Sorc. He was the guy that got the first kill without the announcement. The announcement bugs were not working. That was just a clean phase, to be honest. But one of the things we were chatting about, and I had noticed it a little bit in my frozen orb, but it was really good that he pointed it out to me again, so I got used to it, was, you have really fast frames, you can cast lightning very quickly or chain lightning very quickly, but what you want to do when the Void Knights are out is actually like kind of stutter step, like take a step, shoot a lightning, take a step, shoot a lightning, because the Void Knights and like spears and stuff, it's all directional damage. So if you're able to kind of walk, perpendicular to that, you can avoid a lot of the damage. So here I'm going to take a shot, I'm going to move, take a shot, hit by a spear, of course. But you'll see how I'm kind of moving away from, in a line like that, away from the Void Knights, because if you get hit by a bunch of them in a row, you're just going to get chain CC'd down pretty much in your FHR, and you're not going to be able to do anything. So the worst thing you could do is just stand still, spamming your abilities, because even if you think it's a safe time, like there's a few times where it looks like it's safe, and I get really, baited into wanting to do it because I can just do tons of damage. You're going to do it, and then all of a sudden you're going to get hit by something and put into FHR, and then a whole bunch of knights are going to hit you, and you're going to be stuck like that, and you're going to end up dying. So, safest thing to do, and the best way to save your pots is to definitely, shoot off and take your, take cast, move, cast, move, cast, move. When it's just Rathma, you don't have to worry about that because he's not going to FHR you down. It's really the bunch of knights all out at once. The other thing you want to do is watch his health bar. In P1 and P2 and P3, watch his health bar to know when the Void Knights are coming, because especially P2, it's a very dangerous phase as well. It's obviously not as dangerous as P3, but you never want to be in a position where you're at like a half belt when the Knights come out, because there's going to be cases where you just get CC down and you're going to have to use, 3, 4, 5 pots. So you see this damage is really high. They're grouping together, which is really nice. I'm being very diligent about my, one-shot move, one-shot move. I'm kind of still shooting chain lightning, so I'm hoping that he's going to get in the way. Now that it's just a poison knight, I can actually spam it because the poison knight is doing poison damage, so it's not like chunk damage. But yeah, so you really want to watch your pots like that. Make sure also this flame that he put down on the ground there, you cannot stand in that. If you are standing in that and you get hit by a spear or a sludge, you're dead. You're for sure dead. Doing this fight with only 2,800 life is very difficult. It's gonna look like a lot of times in this fight I'm gonna go down to 100 life, 50 life, 200 life, whatever it may be. That is very much likely because there's like that's just how much damage some of these spells do. So doing this fight with less than 3k without having a parry or a spell block or anything like that or claw block is very difficult. It's it's the reason why Sorc is so difficult, and a lot of times Necro can be very difficult. You know, Sorc has the benefit over Necro that it does a lot more damage than Necro, but it doesn't have any meat shields or anything like that, so that's the challenge. And I mean, that's how people used to kill Sorc. That's how we used to do it, or kill with Sorc back in the day, was just purely out DPSing the bosses because, you know, uh, Ice Bolts and Blizzard, like, you could just do so much damage, but, like, all of a sudden you get hit by one spell and you're kind of dead. So it's kind of out DPSing, and now that's a lot harder because there's just a lot more consistent damage in P3. So now P3, what I will say, um, there's a lot more damage from having both bosses out and everything, obviously, as I always say, but just like Throwbarb, you do significantly more damage now, because there's always at least two targets out with Rathma and Mendel, so when you're casting it near the center at both of them, you're hitting both of them and doing a lot of damage. So you have to be very careful about that because you're going to phase almost instantly. However, you could use it to your advantage during the Void Knights because you can chain off the bosses by just casting your Chain Lightning almost anywhere but kind of aiming towards the bosses, and it'll also chain off into the Void Knights. So that is definitely something you have to take into consideration. And again, you want to stay near Mendel as best as you can. Of course, I always say that and don't always do it the best, but this is just a really hard fight, so let's get into it. I'm casting my Thunderstorm here so I don't have to do it inside, just to have one less thing to do in there. So I want to get within the sludge range. You see how much damage I'm taking already. I got hit by that sludge. See, we already got the Conjuring Soul out. I want to try to get that down as best as I can, and the Knights are already out. So before his phase is even done, I take a whole bunch of damage and the Knights are out. What I want to do is just walk around the outside of the arena here, just like this, and I'm going to try to get my chains off, throwing it around the Knights or at the bosses. I accidentally clicked that teleport there, as you saw. I was trying to dodge the Sludge Nova, but I actually went right into it. There, honestly, I wasn't ready for that sludge, but I was grounded with that animation that you saw, so I wasn't going to be able to dodge it anyway. They're not in the best spot here, but I kind of just had to hug close. You see, I'm trying to make sure my pots are very full right now in the middle because I know, you see I dodged the sludge there, that's kind of what I was talking about. I know that the Void Knights are coming out any second now. There they are. I want to run to the other side of the arena here. And then you see I'm trying to always take one step and cast. Even when I'm low on health, I'm just trying to do that. Just because I need these Knights dead as well. Otherwise, I'm just going to get chain, FHR locked. So I'm going to get hit by a sludge here because I tried to teleport over it, but I got hit by the cage. So kind of unlucky on that. You see here, this is where I was getting a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. Like, these are classic nerve mistakes, like picking up the cube. I got really low on pots there. I didn't fill up right here, I noticed that, so now I'm filling up, but I walked into some damage. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I need to, get my cool here. And I'm going to try to move to the other side here, just like that, to get a little bit away from the corner. You don't want to be in the corner when the Knights spawn, because you'll get boxed in, and then most likely you're just going to die. So here I'm just going to keep stutter stepping and moving. Just doing damage wherever I can. I can tell that this fight's looking very doable, so that's actually my... I was getting a little bit nervous there as you saw how slow I was filling up the pots. What I want to do now is just make sure I have all the pots so I just don't have to worry about that anymore. And honestly, at this point, it's a very close one, but I kind of overpotted a little bit earlier, so now I have to play very well. But there's just a lot of damage, so I'm standing in fire here, which is really bad because I'm eating about two pots there, but you'll see how much damage I have on these bosses if you watch how fast Mendel's dying. And now it's just Rathma. I have 2 pots left, but I'm just going to face tank him because, you know, kind of felt it was done. And I think in a second here I'm going to take over with the regular audio. So I'll just kind of let that play out. But cheers, everybody. Really appreciate it. Um, you know, thanks for sticking along. Like I said, this is not the last video, but it's the last class done. There's going to be some cool ones coming up. I'm going to try to get a bit away from meta, show some, you know, most of mine aren't meta, but I'm going to try to show some other cool stuff as we go through. So, yeah, hope you like it. I'll switch over to the other audio now where I talk about my gear and take it easy. Cheers. Before I stop, I'm just typing here, you know, Gabe was the first to get the kill done. He didn't get an announcement. Terry went in after him, also didn't get an announcement, but then Terry kept retrying and got the announcement, so Terry was actually first, since Gabe's did. Sorry, Terry got the first announcement, but kind of second kill, but yeah. No shade to either one of them, just saying both of them got the kill, so I just want those names to be known. It's not just me as second. Alright. They're both huge, huge stars, so yeah, check out their shit. Oh man, I'll just talk now. This is finally done. Okay, I mean, Sorc was rough. I played really bad at the end there. That was tough. Do a live commentary on my gear just because this is kind of the last one and I have some time. So yeah, so I went Lightning Sorc for the 7th class. This is really all 7 classes done now in Season 10 on T2 Rathma. I have a number of builds I still want to do. I have a Blade Scent video I haven't uploaded yet. I wanted to get this one out there first. Yeah, so here it is. Sorc is really rough for this fight. Sorc and Necro are both really terrible. I don't know what's worse. Right now, Sorc I just did, so it bothers me, but it's probably the worst one. But here we go. So we have Infinity here. You know, we want Chain Lightning, Lightning Mastery is kind of sweet, all 3 of those, but Chain Lightning Mastery, so Lightning Mastery and Chain Lightning is probably all you need. This is one I've used on many builds, obviously. So let's just get some FHR, the Curse Reg is nice because you don't actually need 33 overcap. I'm kind of right tight on res here, but you get a little bit less, you'll need 29 overcap. So this is just a pure life one here. I actually took out the Jaw that was in this and went for Jaw Ohm just to make the cold a little bit easier, just because I have such little life. The knights sometimes were blowing me up after a cold wave. The amulet's giving me the cannot be frozen from the half freeze, 50 PLR, 2 max. It's not amazing, but it's not bad, so it's pretty good. These boots, kind of a crux, to be honest, like, a crutch, sorry, because they're not PLR, but they just have such massive res with cold that I honestly couldn't take them off because I just couldn't fit my max res otherwise. This is a ring I'm using a lot of builds, obviously. Strength, life, res, half freeze, so I get my cannot be frozen here. PLR. PLR, max res belt with strength and life, and some res there. FCR Natures, FCR Trangs gloves. I actually used these because I needed 22 faster cast rate to hit my breakpoint there, and then I was trying to craft some that had that and had cold res, and I was like, oh man, Trangs gloves, that kind of does the thing right there. Charms, you know, all lifers here. I actually did drop some FHRs based on, you know, Gabe had a similar kill with his #1 where he went down to 30, so I was like, alright, let's just do it, because honestly, if you get FHR locked, you're dead. It doesn't matter on Sorc what kind of frames you got, you're gonna die, so I just needed the life. Like, this is bare minimum life, really. And you'll see my charms are all really good, so it's really tough to get much more life than that. You know, all res across here, some +2, so my 5 all res here. So really, the only way you can get a lot more is getting a really sick Ami that has a lot more res than this, and then um, and then better res on this, because this is only 5 all res because lightning doesn't matter. So that could definitely have helped there, and then you can probably get more jaws here. So you could probably get same stats here with 3k life is probably the best you're going to do, and that would still be pretty rough, but would make it a bit easier. The build, Obviously, I should actually be 94 because I don't max Thunderstorm here, but basically you want Chain Lightning, Charge Bolt, and then Lightning Mastery, and then the rest of your points go into Thunderstorm because your T-Storm is actually really big. You can see you cast it on your CTA side because it's quite a bit higher, and it does good chip damage, so I have 2 more levels I could fit here. So I could have gone 94. That would have got me um, 2865 or so life, which would have been nice, but levels are also painful. Um, yeah, that's it. I mean, I had a number of other things I was testing in this build. I had some different kind of things I was going to do, but I didn't end up doing that. I was trying to also use gloves like this. I crafted like 700 gloves, and I never got anything I wanted to use, but that's kind of where we landed. Like I said, I have a blade scent video, which I'll probably release maybe in another day. And then a Zeal Paladin, I think, will be next. And I'm working on a Maul Druid. But if any other ideas people have, just let me know. But finally, 7 out of 7 classes done for T2 Rathma. That was my goal for the season. It was painful a little bit, but we got it done. So thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Cheers.